All right, Mark, the Leafs have 12 games left on the regular season schedule. Their playoff spot has been secure for a long time now, but winning the division could make a real difference, as it would likely mean avoiding the state of Florida in the first round. How do you expect Craig Berube to handle this balance down the stretch between preparing for the playoffs, but also making a push to win the Atlantic?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to change much. I mean, obviously he's dialing in the details as much as possible. That's what you want to do. Any team wants to do as they get ready for the playoffs, assuming that you know you're going to be there. And the Leafs, of course, are in a very comfortable position. But we saw at the start of today's practice, he wasn't happy with the execution. The passing in particular, he cracked the whip, let the team hear about it, and he was happy with the response there. So I think we're going to see a lot of that just moving forward down the stretch as the team tries to kind of get geared up for the playoffs.
Yeah, the details are definitely important. And speaking of details, the tandem of Stolarz and Woll was electric for most of the season, but since the Four Nations face-off, both goalies have a sub-900 save percentage. Do you sense any concern that neither goalie is playing their best right now?
I don't sense any concern. First of all, it was a kind of a tough practice today for the goalies. Anthony Stolarz took a shot right to the neck right at the end from Max Domi there, let out a big swear word. He said that happens once a month usually. You get hit in a bad spot. Joseph Woll looked uncomfortable at times. He got a snow shower from his good buddy Matthew Nyes. He said it was the most snow that's ever been on him. Inadvertent, of course, but still tough practice here for the goalies. And as you mentioned, Jermain, it hasn't been smooth really since the Four Nations face-off. Stolarz just snapped a 4-game losing streak, 0-3-1, heading into that game in New York last week, and he said that was key. That was big for him just to get that winning feeling back, and he's expected to start tomorrow's game against the Philadelphia Flyers. Joseph Woll seemed to be kind of edging out in front in the race to be the starter, but then he comes back to earth to a degree in that game Saturday night against the Nashville Predators. So I don't know if there's any concern, but Craig Berube is certainly on the record as saying he wants one of these guys to be the guy in the playoffs, and it would be nice if they were both elevating and one of them really elevated. But I don't sense any concern either from either goalie or from Coach Craig Berube. The Leafs really continue to be pretty satisfied with their goaltending.
Yeah, tough practice for the Tendies. Everybody knows you're not supposed to get those high heaters in practice, Mark. They're your own teammates. All right, let's talk about Scott
They want
Laughton.
Domi to shoot. You can't have it both ways, Jermain. You want him to shoot or you don't?
It's true. They're preparing him for the playoffs. Let's talk about Scott Laughton. It's been a struggle for him in blue and white, to say the least. No points in 8 games. He was skating on the wing today on a third line with Max Domi and Nick Robertson. What do you think is the answer to unlocking Laughton's game?
Well, good to see him back on the third line. The last few games now he's been on the fourth line on the wing. So the wing, first of all, is interesting because, of course, when he was acquired at a pretty hefty price at the deadline, the thought was, okay, here's the answer to the third line center spot. But right now, they feel like it takes a little bit off his plate to put him on the wing. He won't have to think as much. He can cheat a bit for offense, his words today talking to him after practice. So that takes a little bit off his plate. This is a guy who puts a lot of pressure on himself. I remember after the first game he played for the Leafs in Denver. Talk about a tough first game in Colorado against the Avalanche with no practice, no morning skate, nothing, just getting thrown into the fire. He was already kind of calling himself out, saying, I can be a lot better. So this is a guy very self-aware, has always been that way, and they want to take a little bit off his plate right now as he gets more comfortable in his surroundings. You know, we were talking to him a bit today just about the adjustment. His wife and young son just got to town a couple days ago. He thinks that's going to help him a little bit just in terms of getting, more grounded, he said, here with his hometown team. He said it's been a bit of an adjustment being recognized more in Toronto as he's coming just walking to the rink than in Philadelphia, and he was in Philadelphia for a long time. So there's been a lot of adjustments. He said getting comfortable in the room, right? He's a guy who likes to be kind of an energetic guy. So finding his place in the room has been an adjustment. So there's been a lot of things thrown at him. He did say he feels like Nashville might have been one of his better games, if not his best game. He was more active on the forecheck. Of course, he scored a goal that was disallowed.
Yeah.
He wants to produce offense. He pointed out today he wasn't producing much at the end of his Philadelphia tenure when the deadline was kind of on his mind a bit. So that's bled into Toronto. He's aware of that. So he'd like to generate more. Certainly playing on a line with Max Domi and Nick Robertson will put him in more offensive situations. But there's just been a lot thrown at this guy. Maybe playing his old team, the Flyers coming to town tomorrow, will help create even more of a spark. I asked him, is there a guy you're most looking forward to playing against? He said Travis Konechny. He said their entire careers, they've talked about this moment. What would happen if they ever played each other? They both like to talk on the ice. They both like to chirp. They're both energetic. This could be kind of interesting, Jermain, tomorrow as we see Laughton against Konechny. And maybe, this is the moment where Laughton kind of has that first big moment in a Leafs uniform.
Yeah, that would be something. And seeing the puck go in the net, it was a high stick, so it was disallowed, but maybe that helps Laughton's game moving forward. As you mentioned, Mark, the Leafs host the Flyers on Tuesday night before heading out on the West Coast. Thanks for this, Mark.
On TSN 4.